Hey guys, Deathslayer Magic here, and I'm probably not going to react to this topic the way that you're expecting me to, unless you know me really well. Well, if you know that I'll consider all sides of this, all evidence, everything, and then come to a logical conclusion based on all the evidence, then yeah, I guess this won't surprise you. If you think I rage out at Wizards of the Coast for no reason just for the fun of it, and it's not based in logic, it's just some stupid like 24-hour news network level garbage, then, well, first of all, you're wrong, and secondly, that's not how I'm going to react to this situation. So, a lot of cards have been coming out with two problems. Curled cards, either pre-curled or that will curl immediately, not just foils anymore, and massive amounts of misprints. Just terrible. So let's talk about misprints first, because that's kind of my thing. I know everybody and their grandma says this, but I was into misprints. I thought they were cool. I collected them. I have like 3 or 4 binder pages of all different types of misprints, and one of them's like a yellow ink gradient spill on the bottom. One of them has another card printed backwards across it partially. Like, it's some pretty rare stuff. I mean, some of these might be worth some money, and let's talk about that for a second. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, you know, some people pay for misprints just because of the rarity, and they're also typically still playable, even if they're, you know, like illegible on the artwork. Like, you just have to be able to see the text. But if you got some funny looking, drastic, you know, off color, whatever, throw it in the deck. That's funny as hell, because then it comes up in a game and somebody's like, hey, did that really come out of a pack? Yeah, it did. Hey. You know, that's cool. It's like, you know, it's neat. I mean, I would rank it at like, okay, normal, then there's like foil, then there's alternate art, and then there's special edition like FTV, like a limited print, and then on top of that there's, you know, drastic misprint, because they're more rare and they're way cooler. Now, I know not everybody's into that, not everybody agrees, but I was. Well, Wizards ruined it because everything's misprinted now. It's not even rare. I mean, it is certain types of problems now, like color shifts, black ink levels, and miscuts that are not too drastic. Those are the most common, and those were never worth collecting in the first place anyway. So the ultra rare misprints, those are still ultra rare, from what I've seen. I mean, I'm sure they've gone up a little bit in prevalence, but it's not a big deal. And, you know, okay, so I pulled some common. Oh, negate. I pulled a negate that's not printed right. Woo, whoop-de-doo. So it's worth some money, whatever. I have a pile of 50 of them. I'll get over it. So whether you like them or not, it's not like, oh, defective product. Oh, Wizards is so terrible. You didn't need that card. Not exactly hard to erase it if you don't get a kick out of actually playing with it, like some people like me do. But what if you got a misprinted, like, I'm trying to think of the most expensive card. Probably Liliana right now in Standard. So you got a Liliana, it's supposed to be, what, 35, 40 bucks? And whoops, she's cut so far that it cut off the title of her card, and the next card under it on the sheet is visible on the bottom. Well, I got good news for you. That could be worth up to double. Easily. I mean, throw that sucker up on eBay. You've got money. I mean, that is actually, you could buy 2 Lilianas with that money. Now, it's not like, okay, here's the value for them, and here's how you grade them. It's like people are going to spend whatever they're willing to spend. So the prices are very hard to pin down, but oh my gosh, have certain cards gone for insane prices. I pulled a misprint of about a $35, $40 card and only ended up selling it for like 58 or something, so I wasn't too happy about that. But so don't just say, oh my gosh, they ruined all the money in the pack, this is, you know, misprinted, oh my god, and then rip it up. No, sell that sucker. I mean, that's still the case. So don't trip too hard over that. But is it a complete and utter embarrassment for Wizards of the Coast? Oh, hell yes, but I'll get back to that because that more concerns curving. So, like I said, I've got all kinds of misprints. I got foil, I got crimped cards. That's not even technically a printing error. But I've got everything, and I'm very proud of that. I mean, it's right up there with my purple foil collection. I mean, they're just really cool to look at because people are like, I cannot believe that this many different problems can happen and that you found them because, well, as it was before, people would say, I've never seen a card like that. Well, every other pack looks like that now, it seems. I mean, I'm sure that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I will tell you, Oath of the Gatewatch, which that came out in, what, like late 2015 or something? It's been a while. So that came out a while ago, and somewhere between like 2 and 4,000 of my uncommons were miscut, like pretty drastically to, I want to say, the right. Well, I suppose it's relative. I guess it would be stage right, but either way, like we're talking, okay, one entire box was bad. I'm like, okay, it's a bad box, whatever. They put the boxes in the cases randomly. Well, it turns out, no, they don't. One entire case was bad. Then I thought, okay, they take the cases off the pallets and fill the order, or, people's orders from the distributor in slightly different ways. Okay. So it's not guaranteed even being packed on the truck in the first place. All the people who touch it from the factory, it can't be 2 bad cases in a row. Well, it turns out, yes, it can. Actually, no, it wasn't 2. It was like 3 or 4 or however many you need to get to a couple thousand. It was, I think, 1/3 to 1/2 of all of the uncommons we pulled were virtually unsellable unless somebody's into that. And guess what? Not that many people are into that. I kept them because I thought they were hilarious, but a lot of them we just had to just send them to the recycler straight up because I couldn't buy list them, I couldn't sell them. Nobody's interested in that volume of misprints, and it wasn't to the border. You could still see the black. It was like 50% gone on the left and double on the right. I mean, or whatever it was. I might have gotten that backwards. It was drastic enough that you could see the white guideline marks that are used for the cutter. Just gonna take a wild guess that those didn't work. But it wasn't into the card or the artwork itself, and it didn't show the next card over, which is where I could have actually made, a good deal of money off them. Yeah, the misprint market is weird like that. So that volume started to really piss me off because, you're not supposed to have a collection of thousands and thousands of misprints. You're supposed to have like one binder page of them because they're ultra rare. And we went entire sets without seeing one misprint. I mean, we're talking like $5,000 worth of cards, 0 misprints. And, I'm sure I missed a couple, but it was that low of a number. And then others must have been a bad day at the print shop because holy crap. I mean, at the place where I was actually drafting and playing Conspiracy 2, the whole damn set of couple boxes, I'll just say the whole case probably, was at least 50% misprints, at least. The cards were so over black, it was ridiculous. Like the black balance was just absurd, and that actually is kind of rare, not for that particular, set. But in general, that is pretty rare. You very rarely see too much ink as opposed to not enough, because not enough, okay, something's running out, something's not laying down enough ink, but how do you do too much? It almost had to go through the printer twice, which you'd almost have to do manually, so it's very strange. In fact, one of them was that ghost assassin lady, and you might remember she had kind of darker skin, while on that card she had dark as all hell skin, and the entire background was dark, and so it was kind of like, oh, get it, ghost assassin, you can't see her, but then the reason you can't see her is because she's black. That's hilarious. I mean, borderline racist, but still hilarious. So we had a good time with that one, and I tried to trade him or buy it off him, and he was like, no, I'm keeping this, because anything that's like a pun or something, like a card called like Drastic Cut or something, and it's like a drastic miscut. Oh my God. Collectors get into that, especially me. Like that's, oh my gosh, irony and like puns and like stupid wordplay. Oh yeah, I will jump on that so quick. So when people were opening them, not everybody, not even the majority of people were like, oh, that's cool, neat, misprint, yay. They were like, what the hell, what's wrong with this? They weren't even intending to play with the card later, keep it, they were still like, geez, this is terrible, like what is going on? And yeah, it wasn't one card in one pack, and then everybody parades it around like, oh, look at this, what an anomaly. It was everybody. I mean, everybody was pulling bad cards in certain colors. That whole set of sheets must have just been so screwed up. So now let's talk about the even worse problem, because honestly, it's almost like every other set or every third set has just been drastic amount of misprints. Just miscuts, cutting issues, centering issues, ink issues, the typical printing stuff. Like if you've ever worked with large scale printing volumes, that that's what'll happen. Faded colors, missing stuff, the normal stuff. So I'm sure that probably about the same amount go out in every set. It's just I don't order $1 million worth. I just order like a couple grand worth. So whatever by sheer luck I get is whatever I get. But there's one thing that is a problem, and that's when all of the cards start curling, because I usually store them in the open air when they're sorted because they're pending being sold in playsets. I don't sleeve the rares. I do sleeve the foils, obviously, because I'm not stupid, and I pressure pack them and I somewhat airtight seal them. But as far as the rares go, I thought, okay, they're not foils, they don't curl. I mean, once in a while I'd see a curling card and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And usually it would be like one specific card, which is even weirder. Like, it'll just be like one green rare and the rest are just fine. I'm thinking, okay, well, that's just odd because that's multiple sheets. But now, oh my gosh, have my cards been curling. And I heard it's getting worse. Because I'm mostly talking about Hour of Devastation. A little bit Amonkhet to an extent, but that was lesser. I'm seeing pictures, and remember, it's not really self-presentation bias. It's not really confirmation bias. I'm not sure what you would call it, but I don't know, bandwagon maybe, where everybody's like, yeah, I got a curled one too. Oh yeah, me too. And then it looks like, nobody wants to disagree. I guess you'd call it groupthink maybe. That's not really it either, but either way, people are like, hey, look, I've got a problem with this. Me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. And then, that's out of a pool of 10,000 people on Reddit. And maybe 5 people are like, look at my curled products. Well, that doesn't mean that it's not a 99.97% correct rate with a tiny defect rate, and you just hear from the defect people. I mean, that might be what's going on. But from what I've heard, it's pretty damn widespread. I don't have percentage numbers. I don't even have an estimate. But even I would consider 5 to 10% defect rate ridiculous. And that might be where it's at. Like I said, I have no idea. I don't have a way to measure it. But if that's what it was, ooh, not good. So I would expect that type of defect rate from just any really, really bad manufacturer of anything. I mean, look at the Chinese, who cares, bottom of the barrel, low ball contractor type manufacturers. Like, those aluminum flashlights that everybody and their grandma sells and half the LEDs break over time, or the springs break, or the wiring breaks, or the voltage regulator breaks, and then, great. But they were like $1 to $1.99 or whatever. So you just buy like 8 of them and you're like, whatever, cheap Chinese unbranded product. I get it. You almost come to expect it. Not that anybody would still to this day consider that acceptable, but it's, predictable at least. Okay, well, I get it. Now, would you open, I don't know, like, what's the last one I saw? Maglite or whatever, or like an Energizer brand, like a headlamp or something, something that costs 10 times more, and expect that to have a defect rate of even above 1%? Hell no, and I still have one that works. So you get what you pay for. You get the brand power, you get the company respect behind it, the company's reputation, that kind of stuff. Well, you can obviously see where I'm going with this. Wizards of the freaking Coast, they make a lot of money. In fact, screw them, Hasbro. It's all Hasbro. Hasbro makes a lot of damn money. I mean, when Hasbro comes up with a product, it works. I mean, whether it's printed or whatever, I mean, they do not have a reputation for making bad products. You know why? Because they're very big, popular, successful, and they've been around forever, and that isn't true about companies that constantly make crap, except for Apple. But Apple caters to the stupidest possible people in all of society, and they'll just keep spending money no matter how garbage their defective products are. Speaking of that, let's get back to Wizards of the freaking Coast. Now, wouldn't you expect from somebody who runs the biggest, most successful, highest selling, or at least highest grossing, however you want to measure it, highest player count card game in the world, wouldn't you think that they would have the most difficult to counterfeit cards, the highest printing standards, just for posterity, I guess you would say, or ego or PR or goodwill from the customers, however you want to phrase it, they would actually give a crap about what their product looks like. Like, they would be embarrassed to have somebody open a pack and be like, wow, these are all cut to the left. What the hell happened? And, like I said, once or twice, they could write it off as, wow, this is ultra rare. I'm going to tell my friends about this for the next 5 years. I can't believe this happened. Holy cow, this is like finding a damn unicorn. Yeah, no, now they've reached the point of, 1/3 of my packs were printed wrong, or the whole damn box was printed wrong. Awesome. Thanks, Wizards. If I was quality control, which I'm convinced is not even a department at Wizards of the Coast, I would be like obsessed with fixing it. I would immediately pick up the phone as soon as I saw a picture of one of these on Reddit and been like, hey, fix this at the printer. So as far as I know, the printing company is in Belgium. I have no idea why, because it cannot be cheap to take something as heavy as paper products and ship that many of them on a ship from not China and then get them mostly to the US. I mean, there's literally not one reason I can think of that they would ever be printed in Belgium. I don't remember Belgium being on the radar for amazing places to get your stuff printed. I don't know how it ended up there, except now I'm starting to wonder. Maybe by sheer coincidence it was Belgium, and when they submitted it to who the hell knows where for bidding, they lowballed them, and they're like, okay, cool, we could save, $1 million, 10 million, 5 million, whatever, by going with this Belgian company. Cool. Well, that should have ended after about a day because, yeah, they can send over all the sheet prototypes they want, but it should have been one product release and one day later where everybody was like, oh my God, they're all curling. The paper's garbage. These are cut wrong, printed wrong, wrong colors. Oh my God, I would issue a written apology to the customers. I would throw the third-party contractor under the bus, blame them exclusively to shift the blame off myself, and then immediately announce that we're going with a different printing company. That's what I would do, and that's what a normal company would do. Wizards says, who gives a crap? It would cost X million more dollars, or probably, with what I know about printing contracts, probably less than $1 million to go with a different contractor in the US. Not even so much contractor, just like service provider, like, a printer. Believe it or not, the US is huge on printing because a lot of printer companies kind of reside here. And we've got a lot of trees, we've got a lot of paper, we've got good infrastructure, good shipping ports. We're basically the China of printing. So to get them not printed in the US makes no sense to me whatsoever. So if some company from out in the middle of Europe lowballs you and says, hey, we can do it for way cheaper, you should have not even taken that contract in the first place. My God, I would be scared of what the quality would come out as, no matter what they told me. And like I said, okay, fooled us once, shame on us, we're switching companies. No, Wizards is on fooled me 50 times. I don't remember drastic misprints in Theros and stuff, so maybe it's not quite that bad, maybe it's more of a recent thing. But let me flip things for a second, because this could be Wizards putting pressure on the Belgian company, telling them, hey, we need to lower costs, which doesn't make sense. They were losing players left and right, so it kind of does. But now it's increasing. So the way I understand it, because whenever it's increasing, they'll release the numbers. And whenever it's decreasing, they will totally shut up about the numbers. But the best I can gather is Return to Ravnica. Holy hell, they had double to triple the amount of products sold, and thus the number of players, basically. And it was growing until right around Khans of Tarkir, and then that just ruined the game for years. $1,000 decks, fetch lands, lack of available products. Then you go into, full art lands, but we're not going to print enough fat packs. Just stupid decision, pissing off the customers in a miserable state of standard. So I think it went down, and they're like, instead of, we have these problems to address, let's fix them, we need to get this back up, we need more customers. No, let's lower costs, because we want to make the same amount of money. And by we, I pretty much mean Hasbro. That's the rumor, at least, that Hasbro puts pressure on them to make, more and more and more money and never lose profitability. Thus the masterpieces, although that's debatable because the math on that doesn't add up. Most YouTubers have no idea what they're talking about when they talk about adding masterpieces. What it would really accomplish and how the singles market really works. It does exactly what they said it does. But anyway, I think this recently was the last-ditch effort to say, hey, Standard is dying, that's our main product, we need to slash costs, and then we'll just hide it in the balance sheet, and Hasbro won't look at anything other than the net profit. And there you go, they started using, I would guess, a different paper. I have no idea, it kind of feels different to me. Maybe a different ink. They wouldn't buy older equipment and get rid of the perfectly working equipment, so I'm not sure how the ink is being laid down not correctly, but they might have just said, we need to pay you 10% less, I don't care what you do, and then the printing facility just fired all the quality control guys. There's all these scenarios where maybe just Wizards said, no, keep making them top quality, and then they decided they wanted to be more profitable at the printing facility, and they started cutting costs without Wizards' permission. We don't know. It's not like they'd ever talk about this, because they're all about their own corporate ego and, image and all that, which obviously is 10 times worse if they don't comment on it. But then again, admitting, hey, we told them to try to save money, and this was the result. Whoops, our bad. Yeah, that wouldn't help their image. So maybe remaining silent on it is better, depending upon what specifically went wrong. So those are the scenarios, the way I see it, which way it could have went, who caused what, chicken or the egg, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's about notoriety and prestige and that sort of thing. If you're the biggest, best card game, well, best is debatable. If you're the biggest, highest selling card game in the world, your cards should be the top notch, top quality. They should not be massively defective. Now, if you get some no-name card set from some game that's only been out for 6 months or whatever, okay, they could run in some speed bumps, or ones that are not even supposed to spread. It's just some dumb movie tie-in thing to make extra money, and some who cares kind of company did it. You know, it's kind of like a cheap, crappy movie tie-in video game. You know it's not going to be good, unless it's a Lego one, then it's going to be amazing. But yeah, just some bulk, rush through it, who cares? Yeah, that's what it's going to be. That's going to be like a flashlight made in China. It's almost what you've come to expect. So if you're paying $1 a booster for something you've never even heard of, and then, oh, look, some of the cards are misprinted. Yeah, I mean, what did you expect? But Wizards of the Coast with Magic the Gathering, are you kidding me? Now, maybe some of you guys could help me out here, but in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Force of Will, and maybe like, you know, the other 3 major ones, I don't even remember their name. Yeah, I know, I'm terrible. We'll just say Vanguard. But all those are pretty darn big budget. They're pretty successful. They're pretty big name, pretty widespread, but not nearly as much as Magic. So what are their misprint percentages? I would love to know that. Like, just from stories you've heard or your own experiences, even though it might be kind of small scale, have you ever seen misprints or like a whole misprinted box? And have you ever heard of people talking about it? Or is it a total non-issue where it's virtually impossible for something that's imperfect to get out the door? Like, there's just a human standing there watching the sheets go by and then checking the card stacks after they come out of the cutter and saying, yes, that looks correct. That's all that it would take. I mean, if you think about the sheer labor hours and dollars, nothing. Total pittance compared to the, what would it be? I'll say pretty good fraction of $1 billion, because I think that's about what it is, in gross income that Wizards of the Coast makes on just Magic. 1 or 2 quality control guys, that's it. But they're apparently, either them or the printing people are obsessed with cutting costs and high profit margins. I just don't get it. Other than, okay, Magic the Gathering Online, you got the server costs and payment processing. That's it. You think that equals what, physical paper cards plus shipping are? And distributors taking a cut and single sellers making a profit? Hell no, that's way more expensive. So do some of the staff members, especially the people responsible for profitability, probably wish that it was 100% digital? They would do away with the cards completely because they're just such a big cost? Yeah, probably. I think a lot of them have been at the company for like 20 years and just find that idea ridiculous, which is why they haven't done it yet. And arguably it would actually kill their business, but I think it's starting to eat away at them that they're like, because I heard more than 50% of their gross sales come from MTGO. So the paper cards are actually their minor product. So do they care less about them? That's debatable. But do they want to slash the costs related? Probably. But oh my gosh, does it do bad things for their image? But see, that's the thing. They don't care about that type of their image. Like if you call them insensitive to LGBT issues, oh my God, they're going to form a department to like respond to that. Because oh my God, their image, nothing is more important than their corporate image. But product quality, screw it. Who cares? Buy another pack. I mean, you got a pack full of broken cards, screw you. Buy another one. Like, I'm sure that's not their official corporate opinion, but it sure as hell seems like it, doesn't it? So I have an idea. I have a solution for this, because Wizards of the Coast does not care about their own company image as far as product quality. It would seem. I mean, otherwise they would have done something about this. Now, we only know what we see. We haven't had a statement from them yet. Maybe there's more to this than we think. Maybe the company bought some bad ink from China and it's nobody's fault other than they got scammed. Maybe they bought some cutter blades that weren't quite good and it broke, or maybe they had to reach a deadline so they ran the cutter by hand with manual instead of optics. I mean, we don't know, but assuming that they would have control over it, that's even worse because they haven't done a damn thing to fix it. So let's pressure them to fix it, and not just, hey, your products are crap, I'm going to make a video about it, and cumulatively between everybody complaining, we're going to get 500,000 views on YouTube and just shame you, because that, has that been working? No. But I had heard a rumor, and I couldn't find any official stuff about this online that's verifiable, but you can take any cards that are defective in any way, send them to a certain address or P.O. box or whatever, and they will ship you replacements, because they're Wizards of the Coast and their priority is top quality products and blah, 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 blah. It's all just grandstanding. Oh, and replacing like miscut masterpieces that people are like livid about. Where it's like, oh, I've got $100. Oh, it's missing the color blue. Great. Or, oh, I wish I could sell this, but it looks like a counterfeit because they missed the hollow foil stamp on the bottom. Whoops. That's the kind of crap that they're like, yeah, we'll replace that. So they have some singles in place. So let's basically do the equivalent of DDoSing the system, which, I mean, they're the real cause of it. I'm not trying to be malicious here. It's just they need to realize how bad this problem is. The only way they're going to do it is if they run out of replacement cards. Because you know they're not sitting on 100,000 of every single. They're probably, sitting on like 1,000 for people to mail them in, if even that much. So as soon as I confirm, which please do message me or tweet me or DM me or something, do something to me, carrier pigeon, whatever. If you have the official policy stated by Wizards, provable, that this is what you can do with defective cards and mail them in, and I will make a tutorial on how to mail them. I'll show you how to package them. I'll show you how to get cheap postage, because it's kind of my specialty. And then let's make a real big multi-channel, everybody who doesn't kiss Wizards butt kind of, fun, participate in the community type of event, where we basically just send them 100,000 defective cards and just flood them. Just absolutely flood them. Because that's how many they're sending out, and they told us that they would replace them. So like I said, this is not like trying to mess with them or anything. This is exactly what should happen. Stop accepting it. Start taking advantage of their actual replacement plan that they promised. And as soon as they have to go to their bosses at Hasbro and say, we just had to return a bunch of defective cards because too many people mailed them in because our printing quality is down the toilet, what do? Now it's a PR nightmare. Bye-bye, Belgian printing company, whoever the hell was responsible for all this. So please, if you have that info, leave it down in the comment section below or something else that's more noteworthy. And I will make a follow-up video as soon as I have that info. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.